Most people try to change their habits by trying harder and thinking they need more willpower and discipline. But the reality is, so much of what we do is influenced by our environment, whether we consciously realize it or not. What if the reason certain habits feel hard isn't because you lack discipline, but because your environment is nudging you in the opposite direction? What you see, what feels easy, what feels inconvenient, what you reach for without thinking, and what you just forget about entirely, all of that shapes your behavior. Your environment is always influencing what you do. The question is whether it's supporting the person you want to be or reinforcing the patterns that you're trying to outgrow. So in this video, we are going to do an environment audit and then adjust your environment to better support your goals and the person you want to be. Hello and welcome to the next video in the Becoming 2.0 You series. This is a series that is dedicated to helping you change your habits and show up for yourself in the ways that you want to. So if that is something you're interested in, make sure to hit subscribe and check out the other videos in this series. As we go about our day, our environment is subtly influencing what we do. From what we see throughout the day, what's in arm's reach, what your phone pulls your attention towards, or the people that you spend your time around. For example, if your office building has bowls of candies and cookies out, you're likely going to be consuming more candy and cookies than if the bowls are filled with fruit. And to me, one of the most interesting things is that we usually really aren't that aware of all the little ways our surroundings is really impacting our behaviors. I'd see this so much in working with clients, and to provide an example of what I might see in working with clients. This wasn't an exact scenario, but it'll help paint the picture of what I tend to see. A client might mention that their office has bowls of candies out, and in their mind, they would maybe only pick up a candy once a week. But through our conversations, bringing more awareness to their behaviors, and in some cases, them actually even tracking how many times they would actually grab a candy, they'd realize they'd be grabbing one way more than they realized. Truly, our environments can make it such a difference in our behaviors, but with knowing this, we can purposefully tweak and adjust our environment to better support the kind of habits that we want to have and the things that we want to do and the version of ourselves that we want to be. And no, we can't control everything in our environment. There are aspects of our systems and our culture and the physical context that we find ourselves in that we can't control. But we can always focus on what we can control. And a lot of times when we see someone who seems to be really consistent with things and maybe seems to have a lot of willpower and discipline, they may have a level of that, sure. But they've also done a really good job of setting up their environment in a way that really supports the kind of habits that they want to have and makes it easier for them to stay consistent with those kinds of things. For example, someone who is really consistent with having healthy habits and healthy eating habits and maybe stays really active and fit. They might meal prep or do one of those delivery services so that they always have healthy meals ready to go, and that way they don't go get takeout. They might bring their lunch to work so that they don't have to worry about what kind of healthy options might be available around their building. They probably have go-to healthy places to get food and get takeout when they don't feel like cooking. They might have a home gym or live really close to a gym or live really close to a walking trail so that it's so much easier to stay active. They probably keep healthier foods at home, and they probably have some kind of community, or their friends are people who just tend to be active and also have healthy habits. They probably go and do more active things with their friends instead of just going to bars. It can be so helpful to make changes to our environment to make it so much easier to get ourselves to do the things that we want ourselves to do. So that is what we are going to do. First, you want to get clear on what are the specific habits and behaviors that you want to focus on cultivating right now. And if you are following along with this series, you want to make sure that those are the same ones that you picked out in the first video of this series. It can be really easy to have shiny object syndrome and lose our focus on our original goals and just be thinking about maybe what we feel like we want to change in our lives right in this moment. But that is not super helpful to bounce from thing to thing to thing. So go back to what you originally committed to prioritizing, and we are going to focus on those. So take whatever specific habits that you have in mind or that you've laid out that you are focusing on changing, and think about what would make it easier to do this thing. What would make it feel more convenient? What would cue or remind me to do it, or just make it more likely that I would do it? And then you can also look at, what do I typically do instead of that thing? Or what kind of habits do I have that tend to oppose the habits I'm trying to cultivate? And what can I do to make it harder to do those things? How can I create a barrier to that or make it feel less convenient? For example, if you are trying to read more, keep your book right on your nightstand. And if you tend to have your phone plugged into its charger right next to your bed, Take your charger and put it elsewhere. Remove your phone from the situation so that you don't end up scrolling on it. If you are trying to journal more, keep your journal and your pen out somewhere that you see it each day so that you remember to do it. Keeping a water bottle with you can help you drink more water throughout the day. Keeping your phone out of your office can help you be more focused. Keep healthier foods front and center in your fridge and your pantry, and take foods that you want yourself to eat a little less often and put them out of sight. And maybe even in your pantry, create the added barrier of putting it somewhere on like the top shelf where you'd have to go and get a step ladder to even get to it. Having gym outfits that you feel so good in and then picking them out and laying them out the night before can help get you to the gym. There can be a lot of nuance here, and sometimes general examples may not fit your specific circumstances or might not be what works best for you. So I really invite you to approach this from a place of, what can I do to make it easier to do the habits and behaviors that I want? And if it's relevant, what can I do to make it more challenging to do the behaviors that I want to let go of? A key aspect of your environment that you may also want to take into consideration is the people that you are surrounded by. The people that you spend time with influence your decisions and your actions and what feels normal. We are influenced by the behaviors of the people around us way more than we probably realize. If you spend time around people who have healthy habits, you are more likely to adopt similar habits. If you spend time around people who are action takers and follow through with their goals, then you are more likely to adopt those kinds of tendencies. If you spend more time around people who have a good relationship with themselves, you are more likely to have a better relationship with yourself as well. They say you are an average of the 5 people that you spend the most time around. And whether or not that is actually factual or not, it can be really helpful just to notice who seems to have a positive influence on your habits, who seems to unintentionally reinforce old patterns or patterns that you want to let go of, and where you might need more boundaries or more communication about what you're prioritizing. There are so many ways that I have curated my environment to make it easier for me to have the healthy habits that I want to have, but the people that I have chosen to befriend and spend time with really help with that. My friends are really active, so a lot of what we do includes going for walks, or going to workout classes together, or doing things like going to the park and swimming, or going and playing sand volleyball. And that can be really helpful because instead of carving out time both to socialize and to make sure I'm being active, I can do that all together. My friends all eat generally pretty healthy, and they're all very respectful of everyone's choices. So there's never really any pressure for someone to drink alcohol or to eat something just because that's what they're eating. And they don't talk about themselves or their bodies or their eating habits in any kind of negative way. And all of that just makes it so much easier to actually continue to have healthier habits. None of that is necessary to have healthy habits, but it definitely makes it easier. So bring more awareness to how the people in your life impact your thoughts and your feelings and your actions. And I'm not saying to ditch or let go of anyone who doesn't exactly fit the kind of habits that you want to have or the kind of person you want to be, but it might be really helpful to make a point to go and meet people who are more aligned with that, and maybe to spend a little less time around the people who don't have such a great influence on you. Not that they are a bad person in any way. It may just not be super helpful. You two might not be as resonant with each other as maybe you once were. And if nothing else, it can just be really helpful to be aware of how certain individuals may influence you, so that around those certain people, you can just be more conscious of the decisions that you make. Now, I personally love the idea of doing this, not only for the specific habits that you're looking to have, but also just more in general, thinking about the type of person that you want to be and the version of yourself you want to step into, and really curating all areas of your environment to support that, to support you being the person that you want to show up as. So think about what that next version of you is like. Think about the version of you who has the habits that you want to have. What is she like? What does she do? What is her vibe like? What kind of qualities does she embody? How does she spend her time? How does she talk to herself? How does she feel about herself? What is she prioritizing in her life? Really get a good idea of what that version of you is like. And not just the specifics of what she does, but I find it helpful to also think about it from more of a place of how she feels. What is her vibe like? And then from there, you can go through all areas of your environment and ingest it in ways that help you let go of that old version of you and really step into this new version of yourself. As you do this audit, you can think about Does this align with the new version of me? Will this help support the kind of ways I want to show up or the kind of habits that I want to have? And do this for every area of your environment. So look at your car, go to your bedroom, your kitchen, your bathroom. Look in your pantry and your fridge. Do this with your workspace and your office. Do this with your phone and your computer. Go through your purse and your bag and even look at, again, the people that you're surrounding yourself with. And get rid of and change anything that feels like the old you or that doesn't feel resonant with you anymore. And adjust things in a way to make it feel more resonant with the version of yourself you want to be. Go into your closet, and this is a really big one, and just get rid of anything that doesn't feel resonant anymore. Go to your pantry and your fridge. Is there anything you want to get rid of? Is there a way you want to reorganize things? Looking at your entire space, do you want to redecorate anything? Is there anything you want to declutter or reorganize? Clean out your bathroom drawers and maybe make things more visible, such as a certain lip gloss that you want to wear more. Or maybe take out your gua sha tool where you see it every day so that you actually remember to use it. Reorganize or delete apps on your phone. Reorganize your computer. And again, pay attention to how the people in your life really make an influence on your thoughts and how you feel and your behaviors. And then with that information, you can just get more intentional with who you spend more time around or who you have more boundaries with your actions around. But go through all the different areas of your life and your space and your environment, and then make adjustments to help it support who you want to be and the kind of habits that you want to have. And make it fun. Treat it like a fun project. So if you take away anything from this video, know that your environment is influencing you and that you can adjust aspects of it to help you change your behaviors. And if you only do one thing, find one way you can adjust your environment to help support the behaviors or habits that you want to change, and implement that today. If right now you're focusing on changing your habits or becoming a 2.0 version of yourself, make sure to check out the other videos in this series and to hit subscribe for all the upcoming videos. I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys got some value out of it. If you did, please let me know by hitting the like button or leaving a comment below. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm so excited to help you step into your 2.0 self. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in another one. Bye.